Joining us now for more analysis, Jared Bernstein. He's Senior Fellow at the Center on Budget and Policy Priorities and former Economic Advisor to Vice President Joe Biden. Also with us, Dan Mitchell, Senior Fellow at the Cato Institute. Gentlemen, thanks for joining us. Dan, let me begin with you. You know, as we said, as Darren said in that package, the whole thing comes down to who's going to make the economy stronger and growing again. Will the Ryan and Romney ticket make the economy better? What do you think?
Assuming that President Romney wins and he does something like the Ryan budget, I think that would be beneficial, because the whole key to the Ryan budget is that over the next 10 years, government spending would only grow by 3% a year. And since nominal GDP presumably will grow faster than 3% a year, that means slowly but surely we'll shrink the burden of federal spending as a share of GDP. Having those trend lines out into the future, I think, would be enormously beneficial in terms of leaving resources in the private sector where they'll be used efficiently rather than the government. And it'll also leave some room for better tax policy, lower tax rates, make America more competitive.
Okay, let's get Jared in. Jared, what are your thoughts on that? Who will ultimately be better, Obama or Romney, for the economy?
Well, you know, I think we've seen this movie before. Really, what both Romney and Representative Ryan are proposing here is a replay of supply-side trickle-down. If you look at the tax cuts, for example, that Dan just referenced, not only does Ryan suggest, and Romney agrees, that we should make the Bush tax cuts permanent, but that we should essentially double down on them and cut taxes another $4+ trillion. You're talking about a $9 trillion tax cut over 10 years. Now, it is absolutely implausible to me, or anyone who has taken a serious look at this, that they're going to cut spending anywhere near that amount. We also know they want to increase defense spending. So what we're looking at is larger budget deficits and that kind of supply-side trickle-down stuff that never works the way it's supposed to.
Well, Dan, do you think that Ryan will get his way and cut the deficit as much as he's saying?
Obviously, it depends on what the makeup of Congress is next year, whether a Republican Senate, where you tend to find some more moderates get a little bit weak-kneed about finally trying to tame the Leviathan of the federal government. But the whole key in this debate is how fast does spending grow. During the Bush years, on average, government spending grew more than 8% a year. Paul Ryan's budget has government spending growing 3% a year. That is really the key in the long run. If we let spending grow 6, 7, 8% a year, inevitably we will be greased, because if government grows faster than the productive sector of the economy year after year after year, it's inevitable. It's a matter of mathematics, and that's the key. So do we want more dependency, or do we want more freedom?
let me just say this. Look, here's how you know that what Dan just described, while plausible in his explanation, won't happen in Congress. The sequester, the automatic budget cuts, you guys were just talking about the fiscal cliff. We have Republicans who voted for that sequester already backing away from it. Well, in 2014, Representative Ryan's plan calls for spending cuts that are 3 times those of this automatic sequester. Congress will not go there. They've never gone there. What we're going to see is massive tax cuts that favor the rich, and implausible spending cuts leading to the big budget deficits.
But that's where I agree with Jared. Ultimately, this is whether Republicans really mean what they say.
Okay, real quickly, because we have less than a minute. You know, what American voters are really fixated on are jobs. I mean, you can talk about tax cuts and deficit reduction and entitlement, but it comes down to which candidate is going to get more people hired. So, Dan, you first. You know, will Romney and Ryan get more people back to work?
Well, real quickly, if you have lower tax rates, you make it more profitable to create jobs, we'll have more jobs. The alternative, let government grow and we become Europe, well, we'll have double-digit unemployment. Look at what's happening in Greece and Italy. I don't want that to happen in America. So
here we have a very stark difference between the two candidates in the very near term. President Obama has proposed jobs measures for 2013, 2014, things like that help preserve the jobs of teachers and firefighters, things that help rebuild our infrastructure. Governor Romney has explicitly said, I won't go there, I don't believe in any of that kind of thing. So in the near term, I'm sure that the Obama side would do more in terms of near-term job measures that would help in the short term.
But that's only if you believe in Keynesian economics. We saw with Obama's
Okay, we're
stimulus that doesn't work.
Well, that's another discussion. I think it worked actually a lot better than you do.
Certainly, this is a conversation and a debate that is going to continue. Hopefully, we'll get you back as the campaign carries on. Gentlemen, thank you so much. Really appreciate you coming on the program. Jared Bernstein from the Center on Policy, Budget and Policy Priorities. Dan Mitchell from the Cato Institute.